Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Hey, welcome back, everybody. If you are responsible for leading a team, whether it's a sales team, a management team, maybe you own a company, strap yourself in, be prepared. We're going to give you the 5 key ingredients to leading a high-performance team. And it's everything. That is the first line of defense in terms of your business and your company. It's your team. You got to get them on point. How do we get this all done? Well, I don't have the info. I work with somebody who knows all about this. He helps people all the time with leadership. He's an amazing leadership coach, and he's the man behind Saterman Connect. Josh Saterman, out of New York City, joins us here today. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you today, Steve?
Looking forward to learning about this. I'm going to be honest with you. Just got off a call. My partner and I just hired somebody new within sales. I have a couple of companies. I do a bunch of stuff. Literally, before we got on here, I'm not exaggerating. Like 3 minutes before I hung up from that call and jumped on with you. So I'm listening. Because, we've got a lot at stake here.
For any of you out there who have heard the commercials, I'm dating myself, but Hair Club for Men, you're not just the client. You're also a user. Right.
What did he used to say? Sperling. He used to say, "I'm not just the president. I'm also a client." Remember that?
Yeah, exactly. So here we go today. High performing teams. So where are we taking this conversation, Steve?
Where do we begin? 5 key ingredients. Some of it in my mind, I'm thinking what they could be, but I'm not really sure, because with this new hire, the first things that go through my mind, giving them everything they need to succeed, making sure the expectations are met or explained, getting into their headspace, their mindset. Yes, we did an evaluation with him prior to hiring, which I think we talked about last time we got together. There's a lot of them out there, and he rated high. And in our initial conversations with him, what he said in that conversation matched his profile. Kind of interesting the way that works. But those 5 key ingredients, I don't even know. I hope he has a few of them, because he just started like 5 minutes ago.
Well, certainly we love assessments. They're what we call guidance, not gospel. They just give us some insights. And then hopefully, to your point, you bring some high EQ, emotional intelligence, right? So some self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and of course, relationship management into the conversation. But I'd be remiss if I didn't share a couple of key ingredients. I know we'll get to more than 5, but the first is when you're building a team, there is a mentality. It doesn't matter whether you're the CEO, whether you're the function head, a team lead, you've just been promoted into what we would call a people leader role, right? Managing other people. We've talked in previous podcasts of differences between leadership and management, right? But the first thing is a mentality, which is, are you a servant leader? Are you there to support your people, or are your people there to support you? And when you're building a high-performing team, the first lens to really shift is they are the folks that will be your success, that you cannot do it alone. Otherwise, you would not have a team. So in building a high-performing team, the first lens is it's not all about you. Saterman Connect is so much more than me. I'm so fortunate to have Nettie and Michael and Michelle and Perry and the balance of team, Nicole and Jennifer and Rashana's and Dawn's and Eddie's and Solomon's and the list, right? These are the people that make Saterman Connect what they are. And I have the great privilege of being able to honor that and talk to that. But by far the organization is so much more than just Josh. I feel like Jack from, a shout out to Smartlist, another great podcast, but Sean Hayes from Will and Grace used to be Just Jack. It's not the Just Josh show. It's the Just Saterman Connect show. So this is the first key ingredient is are you as a leader in service of the organization and the people that support you?
Connect is such a great word now that I see it in a different light. You connect with your clients, but you also connect with your team.
And not that I'm correcting you, Steve, but we're a big fan of the yes ands, a good improv trick. Yes and I right. Both of what you just said is 1,000% true.
Mm. And is a digression here. I never say the word but. I always try never to say the word but. Substitute, because it's a negative. Like if you just
it negates.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
hey, that shirt looks great on you, but it could feel a little bit better. Like you said the word and, substitute the word and. And where did I learn that from? Kids. They never say but. It's always like, I went to the store today and they had ice cream and they had every flavor and it was so much fun. And we did this and we did that. So yes and.
Yes, and my 3-year-old, we have a 3-year-old, and her title is Chief Joy Officer, because of that joy that she naturally brings, and that's what gets me to the second ingredient is a combo effect, and maybe a 2 and a 3, like a little cinnamon, a little nutmeg, right? The first is you're not a family, you're a team. Your family is loved ones. Chosen or biological, family is something that you choose. You do choose to join an organization or in this case, I basically use the word but, which is rare for me. It's not a family, right? Your organization is a team. You have a mission statement, hopefully a good one. If not, call us. Saterman Connect will help you write one. You should have vision. Call us. We'll help you write one. And certainly values. And the values are the behaviors that the organization embraces or should be embracing to accomplish and bring that mission and vision to fruition. And so I offer that to say, right, sometimes I'll have to coach CEOs who will get up in front of an audience and say, we're one big family. I'm like, no, you're not. You might have to fire someone. I wish I could actually fire some of my family. I hope that they're not all listening to this. Some of them know I fired them already. So that being said, right, family is different. Team is different. So really honoring the boundaries and the guardrails that guide you as an organization there. And then the second part to all of that is really understanding how to get to know your team better. So we'll talk a lot about ingredients today, because when you're building a high-performing team, sometimes it's not like baking. In other words, if I gave the same chocolate chip cookie recipe to 20 people in the exact same format, not British Bake Off, right? Not the British baking show where you have to like figure it out, right? But I gave you the exact same directions, the exact same time, and I said, go bake these. You might get very similar chocolate chip cookies across the board. When you're building a high-performing team, there might be consistent ingredients, but the reality is your people are unique. Your organization is unique. So that to me is more like cooking, where you want to do a little dash of this, a little pinch of that, a little add of this sauce, you want to try to figure out what's right. And that mix of right is all about what Lencioni talks about. So I'll honor Patrick Lencioni by bringing him in by saying he has the 5 dysfunctions of a leadership team. I've talked about this before. I really like the model because it's simple, it's easy to understand. And when you flip it around and say the 5 functions, those 5 ingredients start with building trust. And in a former podcast, we talked about trust is about building relationships. It's honoring feedback. It's honoring conflict. It's honoring the understanding that trust is something that is an output. And I bring that into high-performing team because so often people skip right to the business objectives. And while they are critical to your success, and you can absolutely fail if you're a well-oiled team, but you don't deliver results. What we want is a yes and. We want a well-oiled team that understands the key results to drive, and we marry those technical skills and those critical skills. So we talk about 5 core ingredients like baking in the sense of Lencioni's 5 functions of a leadership team. We talk about high-performing teams and how we build that by honoring that we are a team of unique individuals that are constantly shifting and changing. How do we honor that piece of relationship so that we understand how to work together more powerfully?
I love the comparison between the team and the family. The team and the family. It's easy for a leader to say, yeah, we're going to get together. We are family, blah, blah, blah. But you're not being honest. You're not truly being transparent. In that person's mind, they know it's not a family. Let's be real. It's not.
Right.
It's a team.
That's right.
Now,
That's right.
You could be close like a family in your team, you know everything about each other. You support each other. Somebody, Jen is going through a tough time right now. We're there for her. Hey, we sent her flowers. And we really mean it. We really care about her. But it's not family. It's a team, and it's a different dynamic when you're truly honest about it. How do you make it feel close, but still be a team where people feel like they're working together, bringing that unity to your team?
A couple ways. One is I have a colleague who says, meet people in their map of the world. I ask 3 key questions. I'm pretty consistent. I say some of these things, so maybe some of you have heard me say this in a prior podcast. 3 key questions. What motivates you? What does success look like? And how do you like to be recognized? And whether I'm asking those questions literally in those words or figuratively in the way that I'm asking questions, what I'm doing is I'm trying to understand what is driving somebody from a human perspective. Because while we are not a family, we're our team, we have to recognize we've had health issues in our family. I have ulcerative colitis. I talk about that pretty openly because I want to remove stigmas from that. Stay in HIPAA compliance, but also honor that, right? We all are humans. We have our things. I have a 3-year-old. That's changed for me. 5 years ago, that was different. 5 years from now, it still may be different. Quite frankly, a year from now, a 3-year-old versus a 4-year-old versus a 5-year-old.
It will be different.
For any of those working parents out there or working uncles and aunts and grandparents, right? You know exactly where that looks. Right? So I share that to, again, come back to the source. If you were hired to do a job, we have to make a little assumption that you were hired in that job because you had the technical skills and the technical experience to do the work. Now, there may be some upskilling or some what I call the toolbox exercise. I've done this for years. I don't know how I concocted this, but I concocted this exercise around sharp tools, dull tools, and the tools that you don't have. We use it as a coaching mechanism. In that toolbox, right, there's technical skills and critical skills. I spend a lot of time focusing on the critical skills, because they make or break you. So another key ingredient for any of the audiences that are out there listening, you can't teach positive attitude. You can't teach curiosity. You can't teach anticipation of needs. You can't teach sense of urgency. You can't teach somebody's drive to have more growth mindset versus fixed mindset. That is a self-selection. What you can do is you can assess where they sit within those circles. You can assess how are they curious? When are they exhibiting positive attitude? When are they not? So another key ingredient to building high-performing teams is A, understanding motivating factors, success factors, recognition factors, and understanding where in that spectrum folks sit within the things that you can't teach. Because then the next ingredient is feedback. So I'm going to hold there for a minute because I know you have some thoughts on this, Steve, because I can see your face. So tell me your thoughts on what I just shared.
I love the fact that you recognize that everybody's different and we've got stuff going on. So maybe that's the key to making people feel like it's family. You want to feel like it's a connected unit, but we don't want to feel like we're in family. I agree with everything. I think it feels good. Like you think I'm kidding? I'm writing these things down because I'm going to echo them to my partner. And he and I have known each other almost half my life. And his, but we've never gotten together on a business situation before. So a little new territory. He's an accomplished sales executive. That's not me. I'm the creative guy. But this is where I'm taking notes for both of us. So keep going.
Well, I'll give a statistic.
Sure.
That validates some of this. First of all, what I love that you shared just now is anecdotally common language that people are using. It's beautiful, Steve. It's organic. It's natural, right? And that sense of you're just using common vernacular. I have the advantage of I live this space every day. So one of the reasons why we love doing the jobs that we do at Saterman Connect is because of what I just said. We meet people in their map of the world. Your language is perfect. It's common. It's beautiful. Right? It's natural. And what we do in organizations is we say, well, let's think about the common language. That's also a key ingredient to building high-performing teams. Are we all saying the same words to each other so that we're communicating right? We have our 5 C's of effective leadership: communication, collaboration, commitment, curiosity, and change. You're talking about the importance of communication, because the warmth that you feel when you walk into a job, doesn't matter if you're virtual, doesn't matter if you're remote, doesn't matter if you're hybrid, doesn't matter if you're in the office 12 hours a day, it doesn't matter. The word you're using is engagement, how you feel about the company.
Yes, it is.
The other word, right,
key.
is fulfillment. Engagement is key, but we've been talking about this for generations. What we also are talking about in the workplace is fulfillment. And that is, I was walking in, I won't say who, Macy's. I was walking in and I was doing an interview for something. And I asked one of the heads of HR at the time, they were talking to me, and I said this word. I said, what I offer in any of the roles that I take on is that I understand the difference between engagement and fulfillment. Just writing this, furiously writing this down. I said, engagement is how you feel about the company. Fulfillment is, does the company fill your bucket? If you are not motivated by your company, if you're not growing, if you're not learning, if you don't have a best friend at work, someone that provides psychological safety, Gallup talks about this in their Q12 engagement survey. If you don't have that feeling of, gosh, this company fills my bucket, you might love the company. You might love what the company is doing, but the company is not filling your bucket. Mm-hmm. It's not offering you fulfillment. So the statistic that, I think it's Harvard Business Review, I was talking to a colleague at a conference and she was doing a keynote. And the statistic I remember is when you are engaged, when you are fulfilled, and when you are inspired, right? 3 different words. A single employee, let's take full-time at 40 hours a week, provides the output at 2.25 the rate of their time allotted, 40 hours. That means that a fulfilled, engaged, and inspired employee provides 90 hours worth of output versus the 40 hours that they work in a day job.
How do you
we know, sorry, yeah.
How do you define, you said inspired, so we've got engaged, fulfillment, inspired. How do you define that?
You look into the organization and you see somebody that has representation. You know, DEI is a bad word right now. You know, we're in a funny moment of pendulum swinging, but we're all in D&I. Diversity is a fact. It doesn't matter if you have 2 guys named John, 6'4" CEOs. They're diverse. They have diversity. So diversity is a fact. And the reality is that you want to see yourself in some reflection of, whether it's skin color, whether it's religion, but it can also be just title. It can be community-based. It can be social-based. I talk about ulcerative colitis, and you'd be surprised how many people say, oh my God, I do too. That's feeling seen. That contributes to inspiration, right? Inspired is about mentorship and sponsorship and feeling seen. So you look up, not literally in terms of hierarchy, not title, but you look up into the organization and go, gosh, one day, right? So engagement is about how you feel about what the company is doing and what they're doing for you as an employee. Fulfillment is, as an employee, what are you taking away from it? It's reverse. It's going into what you need, right? Your motivating factors. What do you need in your life, and how does that support you? And inspired is you're looking within what the organization does. It can be also marketplace, patient centricity. If you're in the healthcare tech space, biopharma space, we do a lot of work in the biopharma, biotech, healthcare tech space. The employee is so inspired by the curative therapies, by the regimens, by the work they're doing within clinical trials. It drives them. It's purpose-driven. That's inspiration.
You're reading my mind, because the word seen, just as soon as you said it, I was thinking of a friend where there wasn't inspiration, there wasn't fulfillment, there wasn't engagement. She had a life change, wasn't working for a little while, took a job with a company doing what she does, medical billing. She's very conscientious, cares, plugged in, all of it. This company, I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but during the training process, because their process is different than other companies, so she had to get, up to speed on everything. They actually said, don't ask us any questions.
Oh, well.
All right. But that came after they shared. A lot of times people come here and, during the training process, during lunch, they don't come back. So red flag, red flag. Now she starts the job. It's uncomfortable. They said that her output wasn't the way it should be. It was on them. They made a mistake. They were attributing her performance to other employees. Mistakes happen. I get that. That was on them. But the game changer was she had to take a little bit of a leave. She has a pacemaker. She's young. She had to have it switched out. The batteries had to be changed. There was surgery involved. She needed a couple of days off. They never even reached out. They even said, how was your surgery? How's everything? Nothing. Zero. Not seen. You're a robot, a number. Let's just go to work, go home. And
that's right.
The only employees, whenever and it was over the holidays or close to, and they wanted to have a gathering in the conference room, nobody wanted to go. No surprise. So I'm just sharing that. I'm not being negative. I'm stating facts.
Yeah.
No engagement. Where's the fulfillment and inspiration? Like she and all the other employees, and they all had said the same thing. They're not seen. Not a good company.
No, and again, it's so one of the other conversations I've had, I talked about four keywords that I talk about a lot: common language, simple, easy, complex, and complicated. And the reality is that if this was easy, you do it, but it is simple. There is a clear roadmap to this, and while it is complex, it's not complicated. And that's where companies really fail, is exactly what you just said, is in the spirit of we're a team, just use the natural analogies. Like look into the sports industry. I'm a huge sports fan. So, and people love that stereotype breaking as a very proud, short, gay man. But I'm actually pretty intelligent in the field of global sports. And when you look at the best teams, it's not always the teams that have spent the most money. Look at the salary cap rules that have happened in baseball and football. It's not always the highest team in terms of salary. It's how the team commits. Ted Lasso, as cheesy as that sign was to believe, think about the power of what that did for folks. People cried when Ted Lasso ended, because it was so inspirational. It offered engagement. It fulfilled people. This is where we are passionate about building high-performing teams and not starting at your C-suite. When you've been doing this for 30 years, you got to unlearn some things to relearn some things. We are passionate about beginning this process right at the inception of when an individual contributor becomes a manager. Because first of all, let's go back again. Everybody, I don't care if you're an individual contributor, I don't care if you just walked in the front door and you're 22 years old, I don't care where you are. Everybody has the potential to be a leader.
Yes.
And managers are those folks that are responsible for other people's development, right? So this is so key. This is all part of those secret sauces that are not so secret. There's lots of great books. We're on this journey with a lot of other folks that do this work really, really well. And it tells you the need. It tells you that there are some really shitty leaders out there, and there's some really shitty companies out there.
Oh my gosh.
And right? I don't think to be disrespectful, but it's true.
It's true. And the example I gave is a major healthcare company in the New York metro area. That's all I'm going to say. It's not some little rinky-dink, company that's just trying to make their way with all this competition. They're among the top, I would say top 3, 4 tops, and this is how they treat their employees. And this is how they treat their employees that are the front line for the revenue collecting from patients. How do you mess that up? Not that anything else, other employees aren't important to the organization, but look what you got going on over there, and you're letting all that slip through the cracks from people just not feeling fulfilled and not really a part of what's going on there. And like you said, Josh, it's simple. A lot of this is simple.
It's not easy, but it's simple. The hardest thing, I'll share this as another key ingredient. The hardest thing that leaders have to do is fire somebody that is a top performer, but and I forgive my language again, but a shitty person to work with. You can be the top salesperson.
Yep.
And the reality is that you're not doing anything to help grow your team. You can be a top salesperson and you're not doing anything to demonstrate best behavior. You can be a top salesperson and you could be limiting the company's full potential because you're not thinking about the ripple effect that your behavior is causing. And you know what I say to companies all the time? That person needs to be fired. And they look at me like I've got 16 heads, but they're the top performer. That's right. But they're holding your company back because the radiated sale or the radiated ripple effect that that person is causing is toxic.
Yeah.
And the reality is that you can hire somebody into technical skills. You can hire somebody that is a brilliant salesperson, marketer, finance head, doesn't matter, engineer. What you can't do is offer, again, go back to those key ingredients. You can't offer growth mindset. You can't offer humanity. You can't offer the grace of, I've had to fire more people in my life than I care to talk about. It's called a reduction in workforce, a RIF. It sucks every time. But sometimes as businesses, we got to do it. And you can do it with grace. You can do it with humility and humanity. And you can offer somebody the perspective of treating them like an adult. I've been part of the let go process in both ways. I've been let go. I've had to let people go. That's business cycles. Come back to what I just said, right? There are ways you treat people, and that's grounded in your values. It's grounded in your behaviors. I promise you, if a company is embracing their values, understands how to hire successful people, you can let the toxic ones go. Even if they're your best performers, because I guarantee you the people underneath, they're seeing it, they're going to rise to the occasion, and they're going to have way more respect. They're going to be inspired by your leadership because they don't want to work with assholes.
It's a cancer.
They don't.
It's a cancer that keeps spreading to your employees and you don't realize it and you're not seeing it. That one top performer is in their own way alienating the rest of the team. And collectively, that team could probably generate more revenue than that one person times 3, 5, whatever it might be. And interestingly, Josh, as you describe that person that, just is like a boat going by, just get out of the way. Doesn't care about the wake of the other smaller boats potentially floating out there in the water, right through. I see their faces over my life. I can identify individuals who they are, and I never wanted to hang with them. It's just like, nah, that's not me. That's not me. They don't care. They don't care. They only care about themselves.
So look at that disconnect that you just did. Just watching your face and your body language. They don't care. They don't care. How many times do you ever want to walk around, whether it's a team, whether it's a family, how many times do you want to walk down and say they don't care, right? That's not a great feeling to have. So today's journey, is certainly talking about high performing teams. And there's a lot of ingredients. They're not actually so secret. And at the same time, if we don't have truth talk, and so in one of our other podcasts, I know we're going to talk a lot about feedback. And that's really the next key ingredient to when performance issues arise is what is the type of feedback and feed forward your organization is in the cycle of doing. It's a good way to sort of wrap up today's conversation is feedback is critical to building trust. People have to feel like what you're sharing with them is in their best interest. And that's a key ingredient to feedback is not about you. It's not about how you feel. You can say how you feel. That's a different form of feedback, right? And at the same time, a key ingredient to high performing team is saying, hey, I saw this and it was amazing. I saw this and I think you could do better. And here's why. So that's another key ingredient to building a high performing team is this idea of how do you provide meaningful feedback?
It's an art. I truly believe it is because you want to be encouraging, not discouraging, and move things forward. It's just the way you do it. We're out of time. I just keep going. This is like
I know. But we're planting those seeds because there's some work to be done here in our time together, Steve, on the idea of feedback. So
if I had to give a description of you as short as possible, it would be, Josh, it would be one word: refreshing.
Yeah.
Seriously. It's
Thank
refreshing.
you.
This, you bring to light things that leaders should know. You you don't state the obvious. You take the key ingredients and make them fun. Like I have my marching orders right here. Wrote them down, as a reminder.
We love it. We love a good sticky note, Steve. We love a good sticky note.
Oh,
thank you.
They're everywhere.
Thank you.
And I'm a tech geek. However, it's in my face when you put a sticky note there. Let's write down on that sticky note the best way to find you and your team.
Saterman, Saterman, SatermanConnect.com. We would love to have many of your folks join us for our Arrive Academy. You can get to our website. You can sign up. It's open enrollment. So, right, it's not reserved for organizations. Anyone can join. So come check us out at SatermanConnect.com. Find us on Instagram. Find us on LinkedIn. Reach out. We'd love to talk to you more about all of these key ingredients.
Always great having you on. If you'll excuse me, I have to go check on our new hire and see how they're doing. Not even kidding. Not even kidding. They probably text me. Hope they can log into the portal. Everything's cool. Thank you so much for today. And
sounds great.
Totally
Good
looking
luck.
forward next time we get together.
Sounds great. Thanks, Steve. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Josh. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.